here to actually present to you today, talk through quality by design and really a lean Six Sigma approach to risk-based monitoring. We're going to have a couple of opportunities to really discuss perhaps any ongoing efforts that you're working on, and also really discuss quality management systems, quality risk management, which all lead, and Lean Six Sigma, which all leads into, risk-based monitoring, and actually a risk-based approach to clinical operations overall. So, with that, our objectives today, we will review current regulatory environment and identify what's internal and external risks to clinical trials. And we'll go through a fun exercise in a little while, a SIPOC, if you've done those before, to identify any internal and external risks in clinical trials. We'll also define the quality by design method for risk-based monitoring. And in other words, what do we see as Plan, Do, Check, Act, and what are some of the activities in Plan, Do, Check, Act? And then identify any Lean Six Sigma tools to mitigate and monitor and control risks in clinical trials. Until we get to the opportunity where we can have discussions, if you have any questions, go ahead and send them through chat. I'd be more than happy to address them as we go forward. So basically, who am I? I am a manager in the advisory practice for Ernst & Young. Prior to becoming a consultant for Ernst & Young about 3.5 years ago, I spent a good 12, not quite 12 years in pharma, in biotech, as well as with CROs. I have basically worked through just about any kind of job within clinical operations, from data management and implementing CTMS to quality assurance. So there's been all kinds of jobs and roles within those years in clinical research in the industry. So what do I do now? I basically work with pharma. I work with a major global pharmaceutical company currently, and I am working with them in their quality management systems. We are improving the performance of their quality management system, and through that comes risk-based monitoring as well. So anyway, I'm also a green belt in Lean Six Sigma, not quite that black belt yet. But anyway, that's a little bit about me. So what are we doing today? We'll start with Module 1 and QRM and QMS. And what does that do with our regulatory environment? And you'll hear me say QRM and QRS, and that's quality risk management and quality management systems. And so I apologize, I'll just kind of give you those in advance. So where are we worldwide? And I like to start this slide, presentations with this slide, because I think it gives us such a nice picture of what's going on in the world of clinical trials. First, we're global, and that has been the trend for the last 10 or so years. And additionally, what we're seeing is there are markets that are increasing in that clinical trial landscape. So basically, what does that mean for us? It means that we're seeing more clinical trials, we're seeing more patients, we're seeing a lot more activity, and that activity is global. So how do you control global monitoring, global clinical operations when you're working with multiple different ethnicities, you're working with multiple different markets, you're working with multiple different regulatory environments? And so how do we control that? And that's through quality by design, through quality risk management, and through quality management systems. So this next slide is really to give you an idea. The previous slide kind of showed you overall worldwide, but this is the trending that you can see over the last 5 years. And this data now is a couple of years old, but it's still you're going to see even more today. So we're still seeing a trend upwards. You can see that the U.S. still leads by far, yet we are seeing huge increases in China, in the Middle East, in EU. So I think that's going to be the continuing trend. And as you all well know, too, that even within this trend, we're seeing much more complicated protocols. We're seeing issues with patient recruitment. We're seeing issues with data integrity. So again, how do we contain all of those issues? And for me, that means you come back and you do pre-work and you start to mitigate your risks, as many different industries already do. We in pharma are just lagging a bit in controlling and setting up the pre-work to control the output. So this is exactly a great slide for me to actually stop talking and engage all of you in a conversation in quality management systems and quality risk management.